Welcome, welcome. My name is Denise Walsh. Welcome back to Coaching for Coaches. Our next guest has tons of wisdom to share because she has scaled multiple businesses, including two six-figure photography brands, and rebuilt again after employee betrayal and burnout. Today, she helps high-achieving ADHD squirrel brain type women build the business or brand that's been on their heart with real strategy that works for their brains instead of against it, grounded support, and the kind of momentum that turns someday into sold out. She's known for her story of reinvention, strong resilience, her no fluff approach to getting things moving, and her ability to turn stuck energy into serious traction. So, big welcome to coach, creator, and the builder of big things from scratch, Brit Nicole.
Hi.
Yay! Welcome, welcome. I'm excited to pick your brain, hear all about what you've created over the past few years because it sounds like you've had success, you've had pivots, you've had ups and downs, you've had burnout, you've had all the things, and yet now you're not, sitting in a corner, hauled up in a ball watching Netflix. You are adding value to your community and creating a product that you probably wish you had 3 steps ago. So, why don't we get started? Was the photography business your first step into entrepreneurship?
No, girl. If we're gonna go all the way back, the very first step was I was in elementary back when Spice Girls and Beanie Babies were the rave. And I wanted to buy the Princess Diana Beanie Baby. And it was like $350. Okay. How stupid is that? That's for another time.
But I
But
bet there's a lot of, I mean, my mom saved all her Beanie Babies, so I am sure
same. My
that
mom
it
has
must
a
have happened.
whole food tubs full of these stupid things that are now worthless. I swore I was on track to be a millionaire with my Beanie Babies, but anyways, so at recess, I was the person that my mom went and got me like those whole pickles in Texas. We eat pickles randomly whenever we want. And I got a potato peeler and I started slicing these pickles and I put them in separate Ziploc baggies and I sold them at recess because people love pickles. And so I generated enough money to go buy my Princess Diana. And I was like, oh, like I literally just made money by doing something really random that people loved. And so, um, fast forward into my 20s after a domestic violence what would I call that? Ex marriage. He, I wasn't allowed to do anything in this marriage. Like, I wasn't allowed to have a job. I couldn't have friends or family. And it got really, really bad one night to where he threw me up against the wall and started choking me. And in that moment, I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I am a creative soul. I know we were talking before the podcast. Like, you are complete opposite of what my brain
Yeah.
is, and my brain is very, very creative. I'm a visionary, and whenever you suppress that in my type of personality, it strips away your whole identity.
Yeah.
Like, who am I? And so after he went to work the next day, and I grabbed some clothes and my husky, and I left. And I was very fortunate to have parents that paid for my housing during that time. But during that time is where I had to find out who I was again because my identity was so stripped
How
away.
long were you in that relationship?
Girl, it wasn't long. So we dated. He was a rebound, and when we were dating, my parents were even like, "Hey, like this isn't right." Like he's already starting to like
Red
mess.
flag, red flag, red
Yes,
flag. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And your background is gonna love this
I know.
self.
I'm like, we could talk about this for a whole hour, but we
Yeah, I
won't.
was
We'll
like,
move on.
your background's gonna love this self-awareness that I had. But I was like, I can fix him.
Uh-huh.
He'll
Yeah.
be okay. Like,
Yeah.
you don't know him the way that I know him. It's okay.
Yeah.
Until it wasn't okay. So we had gotten married, like, I think it was in May, and that happened in a July, and I left
Good for
then.
you.
But
It takes courage to leave, and it often takes 7 times, right? So good for you for getting out when you did and running back to your parents who you knew supported you the whole time.
absolutely. And I was very fortunate to have friends that even went to buy my groceries. like friends that I wasn't allowed to speak to. And I'm just very thankful for the community that saw my heart instead of the circumstance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was,
Wow. But yeah, you're at a rock bottom of sorts, relationship shifting. Now you get to figure out, okay, well, what do I want? And who am I now? And what type of work do I want to get?
yeah,
And sometimes when the world's your oyster, that can feel paralyzing and it can be hard to take action. So how did you navigate that season?
that's a beautiful question. It was a little difficult to navigate because still had him literally sitting across the street watching day and night type thing, and police couldn't do anything about it because it's on public property type thing. And so it felt like anytime when I would try to make a move to better myself or to do something, there was always him as that roadblock stopping me from doing it. And it it took a lot of like my parents intervening, police, and also like he eventually ended up taking his own life. So it was a whole slew of things. But because I was so raw and stripped, I knew that I needed to find who I was again. And so I dove into therapy, and I started doing a lot of self help stuff back at home. And um, I remember I remember having that like intuition within myself of I love being creative and people love what I create. I'm able to see beauty in the randomest things and have emotion from it that move other people. How can I craft that into something? And that led into photography. But once I started, I was self-taught photography. I did not go to school. I'm complete opposite of you. I was like, I am not going to go to school and waste my money. I know that, it's 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 just not for me. And so I would sit up at Barnes and Noble and I grabbed all the photography books, I grabbed all the finance books, all of the things, and I started just diving into it. And when that happened, I was like, okay, well, the world is telling me that I need to go get a job. So I went and got a banking job as a teller. And I ended up getting fired from that one pretty quickly because in my head, it triggered if I am using this time, this 9 to 5, to build somebody else's dream, I can do the exact same thing for me. Like, why am I not home right now building what I want to build? So, naturally, if I'm working on my work and during somebody else's time, you're going to get fired. So that's exactly what happened with me. And all these big gurus are like, you need to find a problem and then get the solution for them. That's how you're going to live the American dream. So I was like, oh, okay, well, that's not photography. You can't make money from photography. So what can I do? Digital marketing. It was not a thing in my city. There was no digital billboards, there was no such thing as digital menus. So my random squirrel type brain decided to get on Southwest. I booked a flight to New York and I walked into just places where I didn't have meetings with. And I asked to speak to the owners and sat down with them and started like interviewing them of how did you do this? What are the best techniques? Like I started learning digital marketing from the best digital marketers out there. Came back home, my dad co-signed a loan for me, and I had all these big TVs that I just went in and hustled my way into the mall, into these restaurants, and I started spinning ads on them as well as their menus. And I quickly realized that I hated it. I would wake up every morning loathing life. It wasn't what I was supposed to do. Like it didn't fulfill me.
Right.
So in my early 20s, here I am. I built, I scaled, I sold it. And I was like, okay, I have this calling. I feel God calling me
Yeah.
to dive into photography, even
Well,
though
I want to just highlight something really quick because I think a lot of times people push through
mm,
that like hate because they need to make it work or I mean, I had a lady say, I wanted a cottage, and now that I've had a cottage, I don't really want a cottage anymore. And
Yes.
we're like, girl, your dreams can change. Your goals can change. You don't need to have one vision for your life. And
Yeah.
so I love that you listened to that still small voice and that restlessness that was still calling you back to that creative energy. I'm sure you learned a lot. I'm sure you made great connections. I'm sure that season was important, but yet you didn't hang on to it too long, it sounds like.
No, I didn't. I think after leaving the abuse, there I have it in back of my head of I can leave things and still be okay.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
can leave this part behind, even though I built it and I don't have a job. I can leave this behind because I've proven to myself I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna drown. Like, I'm okay. And that's really what catapulted me really where I'm at because
One
once
of,
yeah, like once you kind of realize, like, oh,
yeah.
it's not as bad as what people think it is going to be in their head.
Well, one of the questions that I often ask and clients and coaches is what's the worst thing that could happen?
Mm,
And when you like take that to the end, the worst thing that can happen is you ask for help
mm,
and you know what I mean, and you'll be okay. And so oftentimes we live in this fear of what if it doesn't work or what if X, Y, and Z, when at the end of the day, we'll be fine. We may need to get some help. May need to move in with parents. We may need to take out a loan or we may need to, whatever, but most of the time
yep.
we'll be okay.
Yeah, that's yeah.
All right, so you're at this pivot point again, in your 20s. You've built a business, you sold it, which had to feel pretty good.
It did. Yes, it did. It what I realized though is one of the reasons why I just couldn't get into it is because I realized I was building it out of anger and frustration and proving a point. So back when I was in this marriage, I wasn't allowed to have a job. I wasn't allowed to have friends over. I wasn't allowed to have family. I wasn't allowed to have anything. I had to be solely dependent upon him. And that that crushed me. And so I made like this self promise to myself that I'm never going to allow anybody to take away from me ever again like that. And I just blindly followed what gurus' advice are saying. And I was like, I'll try this out. And I mean, I love that season of my life because it showed me what I'm capable of, but it was just all done for the wrong reasons. And if I would have kept pushing through, like I like to live now in happiness without an agenda. Looking back, all of my stuff had an agenda.
Mm.
And there's no way I would have the life that I have now if I just kept pushing through and kept doing the hustle culture that I feel like is really toxic. But
Right, right. But you listen to your heart, and I often tell coaches, that restlessness, that still small voice only gets louder until you take action on it, right? Because you were going in the wrong direction, and that still small voice was like, "Excuse me, you're a creative person. You like to design, you like to create, and it was calling you back." And
yeah,
so, how did that? Is that then what triggered the photography?
it is. There was I you have the outside voices constantly of other people projecting their fears on you of what they wouldn't do. And there was a lot of talk of photography. It doesn't make money. You can't ever do anything with it. But I literally had like this vision of me photographing weddings and it being like a really big thing. And so I was like, okay, I have this on my heart. Like, I truly feel God just like shoving me this direction. Going back to what you say, what's the worst that can happen? I have to go get another job.
Right,
Like, literally, what's the worst that can happen?
right.
So I did it. And within my first 4 months, I generated $20,000. And I was like, oh,
You're like, it's
what?
possible. What
Like,
year was this?
what? Oh my gosh. I'm about to sell it in January or February is gonna be my 20-year anniversary.
Okay.
So
Yeah. This was before social media, This was,
Well, no, MySpace was a thing, and Facebook was a thing, but you had to be in college. You had to have
yeah,
a college.
I was not in college then. Yeah.
Yeah,
So in 2005, it was like flip phones and MapQuest and, and MySpace. Yes.
Jeeves.
Yeah. So, and
Yeah.
I think that's just, and it's interesting to identify the day and time, like the age, not only your age, but like the era, you know. When I was building my business, there was a time where I could post on social media and get like 10 distributors or 10
Oh,
leads. You know what
right.
I mean? Like but back then you were really networking. You were getting your name out there. You were knocking door to door in a sense.
Yes, you were.
And
Yeah.
then potentially utilizing MySpace too, but that was still so new. So yeah, tell us a bit about your photography businesses.
Exactly like what you were saying. I was boots on the ground.
Yeah.
I had to physically go to locations to put myself in front of people. And like when we are looking back now, I'm like, man, if I knew then what I know now, I probably would have taken more of advantage of whenever Facebook started really being a thing because like wow, what I could have done then, but
We
whatever.
didn't know.
Yeah,
I
no.
know. But you're right. I started my business in 2007, and Facebook really didn't come into play until like 2011,
I like 12.
2013-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And 2013, it was like you post a before and after picture and, you know,
Everybody's mind is blown. They're like, oh
exactly. You get like
wow.
all these views before the algorithm changed again. So I think there's a set of skills that entrepreneurs who are only influencers or only building on social media didn't have to build that I think helps us even now.
Well, I feel like that's kind of like what hinders me, to be honest with you. I find it more difficult now to market or to do stuff within the business than I do back then. I mean, it probably because I feel like 80 years old and it's like, oh, why does it have to be like all of this? Went into the AT&T store yesterday to get like a home phone. Those don't exist anymore. I'm not even kidding. They were like, we're phasing those out. The best that we can do is this flip phone that you have to use as a cell phone. And I was like,
Funny.
really? But
But
anyways,
yeah, those networking skills, the sales skills essentially that you learn belly to belly are important.
yes, the sales part of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I was able to just keep going and going and going. And I built a very profitable photography business. And I was like, you know what? Going back again, what is the worst thing that could happen? I don't have kids. Not married yet. Well, I was married at the time, didn't have kids. Let's just try this out. So I opened up another branch underneath my photography business, specifically for Texas. And it was Texas adventure elopements because I already did destination work. So I was like, I'm going to focus on Texas, see what I can build from here. And it freaking took off. I ended up hiring other photographers within the state of Texas strategically in certain locations, and their job is to specifically do like the client journey of the consultation, the shooting, and then they give me the photos and I edit and I deliver. I do all the legal back end work of everything. And they went through training with me to make sure that the brand stays intact. Like you're shooting like me, because that's why people are hiring us, is because,
Right.
you know, and everything was good until it wasn't always,
Yeah.
right? Um,
Yeah.
During the year that I had this certain employee, I should have listened to my gut, but then there was this other side of me that saw a little Brittany in her and was like, you can help her. Like she I can fix her.
Yeah.
There I saw your
That
brain, so
pattern.
I'll
Yep.
admit it. Yeah, that pattern. I can fix her. And so there it was just a big dumpster fire for the year. And when she finally left, we had our offboarding call and everything and went over the contracts of what you can and can't do. And that didn't stick. When she left, she ended up taking what was then like 16 or 17 years of intellectual property with her. And what we could physically see on the outside, not behind the scenes, was the 66 federal copyright infringements accounts. And in order to get the bleeding to stop, I had to let go of all of my staff. So here was like two amazing running scaled photography businesses, and they're both cash cows. Like it was fantastic when it was. But when you strip everything away and it's just you on a scaled business, that's not sustainable. Like
Right.
I burnt out really bad. The whole business crashed. All of the money that I had made went straight into this federal lawsuit. And like it was one of the most traumatic times of my life. And I don't say that lightly because what I went through with the DV, like that was pretty rough. But I think because one, I either may have just like completely healed from that time of my life, but this one felt so traumatic because it was a baby that I had built.
I was going to say, this is your baby, your blood, sweat, and tears, and it's a betrayal.
Yeah.
And it's somebody you most likely thought was a friend, at least a coworker that respect you, mutual respect. And not only did she, disrespect you, but she disrespected the business and took it. Yeah. And what's interesting about times like this, and I think we all can imagine ourselves, maybe we're in a time like this right now, is that it's hard to see through it. It's hard to know it's going to end. It's hard. You feel like you're going to be stuck in this place forever. And so it's a season.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is putting it lightly. It took me 3 years
Yeah.
for me to understand that my body was stuck in fight or flight. Like my nervous system was just
Yeah.
shot. My levels were just over the top. Anytime that my phone went off of like a ding of an inbox, it felt like I was literally getting mauled to death by a bear because my
Yeah.
brain is telling me that's my lawyer asking for another invoice or saying that they're not settling on whatever. I don't just something
Yeah.
related, you know.
You're in chronic stress. Everything's heightened. So
Every
everything feels like a big deal, and it is a big deal.
everything felt like
But
easy. Yeah.
did you win the lawsuit? Did you get anything back? Like we need to know.
Girl, nobody wins in those things, which
Yeah.
I wished I would have known. Nobody won except for both of our lawyers. We'll
Ugh.
just wait. We both got screwed on that aspect of things. Like our government is not for small businesses
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
at all. Like you
All
shouldn't
right.
go bankrupt to protect yourself.
Yeah. So you were at another pivot point.
Hmm.
Do you go back to rebuilding a photography business or do you try something new?
Yeah, that was a great question. For 3 years, I am on autopilot, right? I can't really get out of bed. My brain can't function. I'm not the best mom. I'm not the best wife. I'm just not the best person to be around because I don't know who I am anymore at this point because
Yeah, that identity got stripped
oh
from
my
you
gosh,
too.
like
Yeah.
my identity, when I say I was on a high horse, I really, really was. Like my whole identity was wrapped up in my accolades of being in the Knots Hall of Fame, being seen everywhere, like in the major media, like in the money I was making. Like that was all who I thought I was. And when that gets ripped away, it was like, what am I even doing with life? Like, honestly, what am I doing? I don't know who I am. I can't find that inner voice that I used to have that guided me. I don't know what to do. I was stuck. And girl, it was really the hardest, roughest time ever. And so it wasn't until I had hired some business coaches and I'm like, there's just something wrong with me. I'm not able to generate. Like, I can do all this marketing stuff that I used to do because I guess that's where my inner being was trying to pull from was the old Brittany aspects of like, if I just do this and this and this, it's proven to work. Well, I did this and this. Where are these people? Like,
Right.
where's the income? Why is this not working for me? So I hired some business coaches, and there's one in particular that's that said, Brittany, you just need better words of affirmation. Like you need to speak more kindly to yourself, and then things will just change. So here I am putting like sticky notes up on the mirror of like, you're brave, or, whatever. And I'm like, this is just crap. I'm like, no, this is not what is moving it because I still feel paralyzed.
Hmm.
Like the inner Brittany, I cannot find her no matter what I try to do. I can't find her. There was no lighthouse for guidance. And so I found, I didn't even know that this was a thing. There was a spiritual coach. And I was like, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? I'm already kind of in the deep end already. So like I go bankrupt. Like, okay, we've already seen the bad financial aspect of things. So I hired this business coach and the spiritual coach, and it was like the greatest awakening I'd ever had. Because she was like, Brittany, literally, it is not a matter of thinking positive. Like, yes, positive energy attracts positive energy, and negative attracts negative, and money itself is an energy, so you could be pushing it away, but your body is literally just stuck in fight or flight mode. And we just need to get you a nervous system reset. And I was like, dude, that's like that stuff is like for people who have like goats in their backyard and like they make their own milk type thing. I'm like, what are you talking about? But no, sure as crap. Like, I started diving more into nervous system reset, and I don't know if this happens like for everyone like this, but it was just like boom, the clouds lifted, and I was able to form an actual thought. I was able to have like a good day. I could breathe like a normal breath. And that was crazy to me because for 3 years I couldn't do that. I was forcing myself to breathe.
Hmm.
And I had, I still was trying really hard with photography. And there was like, there's this calling within me. Like, it's like this vision that I had of, um, I'm standing on this stage, and there's like hundreds of women out there, and I can't see their faces. I don't know what they look like, but I can feel what they're feeling, and it's heavy, and it's sad, and it's dark. And then I start speaking, and I could literally see like these chains just being lifted up from them. And I was like, okay, so I'm being called to speak life into other people, is what this, I believe this vision is. Where does this go from here though? Like, what do I do? And then I was like scared. I'm like, nope, actually, I'm going to go back to what's comfortable. I know photography like the back of my hand. I know this industry. Mm-mm. I don't want to, I'm too old and tired to want to start something else. So I tried to go back into photography, and for the first time in my life, I started having cancellations on consultation calls. That never happened to me ever, 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 ever. People telling me no, like that was never a thing. And that made room to continue working on the Unstoppable CEO. And that's where the Unstoppable CEO was born. And um, I was like, okay, I'm gonna follow through what this vision was. So in January, we put on our very first summit, and the term CEO indicates business, right? But that summit took a completely different turn. It was definitely, I had speakers that had their own business, even had an ex-mayor on there, female, talking about like the hard aspects of things that we go through and how to get to the other side and heal from it to be able to walk into our calling. And I was like, this is exactly what this is about. And it sold out. And I was like, people like this? Like, this is a thing that I can do? And it was just incredible. And that's really where the start of the Unstoppable CEO came from.
That's amazing. So what do you teach within the community and at your summits? Are you teaching people nervous system reset? Are you teaching them I know you have an unstoppable CEO method. What are some of the things that people learn in your community?
A lot about resilience at first. You and I spoke about as you further along into what you're doing, you kind of figure out like your niche specifically as to what you're wanting to do and to offer and things like that. But it definitely first started off with just like teaching resilience and showcasing like you can go through all of this crap and it's you don't need people saying just be strong or just push through or whatever. Like you just need to heal inside and then you're going to be able to flourish and make your next moves because if you make your next moves without a clear mind, you're really just pushing yourself into a deeper hole than what you realize. And so it started off like that and then is transitioning into me learning more about the nervous system so that I can help other people with it.
Hmm.
Um, like I have like weekly every Thursday we have like these free like webinars, I guess, that people join. And it's like I don't know if you'd call it a master class. Some people call it a master class. I don't know. I have weird feelings about the term master class, but I do talk about just like give 2 minutes to like showcasing like breath work and eye movement and stuff like that and what that can do. But I'm not a therapist, so I can't like sit there and like,
Yeah.
really walk somebody through some nervous system support because, yeah.
But you find that people gain confidence, they gain that community of support, they gain I often say to my coaches, it's not about you being awesome. Like you are not the awesome thing. The space you create is the awesome thing. And it's them, it's the questions you ask, it's holding them in their hurt, it's creating that space for them to process through their own stuff, whether that's one on one or in community, that is the reason people come, right? So it sounds like in your community, people have that space to hear from others and get inspiration, but also practice tools that they're able to use to heal from the inside out.
Yeah, what I didn't actually realize was there are so many people out there like me. I honest to God, I really thought like I was damaged and broken and that I couldn't be fixed, to like business standards. And trauma brain is real. Like people go through that on a daily basis and they're not realizing what that actually means or what it looks like in their life. They're just so used to the everyday
Mm-hmm.
of it. And so when I started really putting myself out there of just talking about not just my journey, but also like the roadmap that I made for myself, because I swear I'm undiagnosed ADHD. I really am. And the business, I guess, tactics that are out there don't work for brains like mine. Like it is complete opposite. Like I guarantee you stuff that like you had read had worked for you because you were able to like digest it in your brain, be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But if I were to read the same thing that you read, I'm like, what is this gibberish bull crap? Like I don't understand it. And it would throw me into overdrive. And I had created my own system back whenever I did the digital marketing and come to find out, like, oh, there are literally other women out there that one, we can get them out of their nervous system, by doing a reset, but two, they have squirrel brains like me and they don't learn the way that most people are learning in these big courses or hiring certain coaches or whatever. And so I just started talking more about like what I did with my brain and how to make things stick and to scale and to grow the revenue. And that's just kind of where it started. And in the community, like especially the CEO method, that's what it is, just full of women just like me who have the support. And I'm there, just like you're talking about, like to hold space for them and be like, okay, let's re-question this.
You're
Like,
not broken.
yeah, exactly. And let's build the system that fits your brain, meeting you where you're at right now,
Right.
instead of you feeling like you have to fix your brain to meet the place and the goals where you want to be.
One of the things I learned early in business was If you focus on your weaknesses, you're just like that, it's not going to work. So, diving into your strengths, recognizing your strengths, and then pouring into your strengths, your weaknesses will get better, or you outsource them, or whatever. But we don't need to be all things to everyone. And so, the first step is figuring out, how do I operate? How does my brain work? What lights me up? What puts me in flow? What's the thing that I really enjoy? And then you can create systems surrounding that. So tell us a bit about how ADHD, squirrel brains, like what are some of the things you've noticed? Or I'm sure everybody's different, but there may be some patterns.
Yeah, well, I call it energy mapping within like week one
Uh-huh.
of the 90-day roadmap. But what I did not know, again, wishing that I did, was that everyone has different type of energy patterns throughout the day. And for you, your best focus probably could be like from 8 a.m. until like 11. But for me, it was like 9:30ish until 2 o'clock. Now, once 2 o'clock hit, nobody better ask me for a freaking thing. I am done. I cannot handle one more thing for anybody asking me anything. And then my energies kicked back up around like 7 o'clock, 6, 7 o'clock. I'm like, oh, I can do that. And so what I teach I have like this document where they map their energy from every hour for 3 days to see like where their brains like excel and when they need to drop off and not push through. And then knowing where they excel, that's where we're going to put all of our hyper focus activities in, because people like me, I hyper focus on things. Like I have to just plow through this and then I'll move on to the next thing. But if I get distracted, I can't plow through this. So that could just either be like 30 days of content batching or what have you. Like all of your big tasks are going to go into the big energy aspects of things. And then whenever you have the low energy, if it feels right, then do like the admin tasks of like emails or follow-ups or what have you, something that feels lighter and not as heavy. So that by the time you get to bed and you wake up, you don't feel like a piece of crap of just being a failure over and over again.
Right, right. Really understanding how your brain and body work is key. I have people say, well, maybe I need to, become more like XYZ. And we've really learned to say, like, no, the goal is that it's not that everyone becomes an extrovert that's dancing on the tables. The goal is that you figure out what you really like and what fits your personality the best, and then create your day around it. I've even had people be like, can introverts do business? Can I do business as someone who's shy? These, and obviously skills can be learned, but I really do think if we can figure ourselves out, then we can set our lives up in a way that fits us.
Absolutely. And I can speak to those people that are introverts, that because you do have to have an extrovert type of personality to put yourself out there. And what I tell people, because I've heard similar, and they're like, I can't get up on stages and do blah blah. You don't have to, but like I can't get in front of people. And when I say Brit Nicole is my alias, I truly, honest to God, I mean that, because Brittany is very, I'm kept to myself. I like to stay home, kind of introverted, but put me into Brit Nicole and I'm like, hey everyone, like just putting all the vibes out there loudly.
Yeah.
They're like, it's two separate things to me, but
Yeah, no, it is. It's like your mind's like diva, you step in and you're like, this is me available, like present here and now. And then there's also a time where you're binge watching Netflix, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I find too with that question is I'm often like, is it because you're an introvert or is it because this is new? Because anytime it's new, we're going to retreat. So is this a skill that we can learn? Obviously, you get filled up by being alone. That's fine. We want to put alone time in your calendar.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean you can't learn the skill of doing a sales call or creating content for social media or being vulnerable, like sharing your story, that kind of thing.
Yep. Well, I mean, even way back when um, everything first started, I was still I was still the person that liked to stay home. I didn't like to go out and really party or anything. And I was the 90-year-old, 20-year-old that went to bed at like 9 o'clock. So I don't know. I feel like Brittany's always been Brittany, but once Britt Nicole came around, it was like I don't know. It could. Ooh, now we're getting into psychology here. It definitely could be the aspect of like if something were to happen within Britt Nicole, Brittany is still here.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, awesome. Well, what do you have? You have the Build It Scared. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's like a free journal. It's a PDF document that you can grab from the website, but it goes into pretty much kind of what we talked about of how you're feeling, like your nervous system, how to get you out of it a little bit, some energy aspects to shift, and then some step by step guides of how to just dive in and start building your business, even when internally you're feeling a little scared to do it.
Yeah, I love it. I'll share with you we just did a training this last week with our coaches, and I talked to them about being safe and brave. And
Mm,
I actually got it from our high school principal who, we had a parent meeting and my son's now in ninth grade. So and he shared this idea, this culture for the school, which is safe and brave, meaning you can do brave things when you feel safe.
so good.
And I think that's so going coincides with what you're doing here because you're helping them to feel safe in their own bodies. That doesn't mean they're not going to be scared. There's still fear because you're doing something new, but when you feel safe, you can have that courage to be brave.
Yep, exactly.
Awesome. So how can people connect with you? What is the website for Build It Scared? And then are there any communities or anything that they can join to follow you and learn more?
Yeah, absolutely. So Brit Nicole, BritNicole.com is where you can grab the freebie. I believe it is the very first thing that pops up on your screen to just go ahead and grab. And then I have the Unstoppable CEO podcast, and you will literally find all connections either through the Instagram or the website. Instagram is its.brit.nicole.
Awesome.
Yeah, the Unstoppable CEO is a community. Come join it.
Awesome, awesome. Especially if you are an ADHD brain, a squirrel brain, Brit is the coach for you to help you take how your brain works and create systems around it so you can execute that dream on your heart.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your story. I've got one last question before we end, and that is, what is one thing you do every day that you can't live without?
Ooh. Mm, okay. I have really been diving into like meditation. And again, I thought that was for people that own goats in their backyard. But no, it's a real thing. Like, it's crazy cool to see the difference of what my day is like when I don't take time to myself. So, yeah,
Awesome. It
definitely
is.
take.
It's that be before you do that makes the do even more effective.
Mm,
Awesome.
smooth. Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for sharing, you guys. Check out Unstoppable CEO and Britt Nicole. Put all the links in the show notes below. And we'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye, guys.